Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you for joining me. In my video today, I'm going to be making two scene cards using silhouette stamping. Silhouette stamping is a fun technique to do by using a stamp that is a solid image so that you don't have to color it. Basically, you ink the stamp with black ink and stamp it against a colorful background. When using solid stamps, of course, you can use any color ink to stamp with. However, to get that silhouette look, I'm going to be using black ink. And the stamp set that I'm going to be using for my cards today is this brand new stamp set by Simon Says Stamp. It is called On the Horizon, and this is part of their Dream Big release. This stamp set is a 6x8 stamp set, so it's very large, and you can see all of the stamps that are included. There's some palm trees, the moon, the sun, there's some cacti, and there are some people there kicking balls, laying out on the lounge chair, swinging on a swing, and lots of sentiments such as sending you sunshine, missing you, thinking of you, and more. And I will have a link to this stamp set and all products that I use in my video down in the description box below. So if you're interested in purchasing anything, please take a look down there. Let's go ahead and get started with making my first card. So I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock. I cut it down to 4 inches by 5¼ inches, and I'm going to be doing a lot of ink blending. So to create my colorful background, I'm using Distress Oxide inks because I love how they blend. I'm starting out with Tumbled Glass ink, which is the lightest blue, and I'm putting it across the length of that cardstock panel. Then I'm going to come in with the Salty Ocean, and this is a little bit of a darker blue, and I'm just going to put it along the edges. I wanted it to be lighter in the middle, so I put it on both the left and right side, and then I come back in with the Tumbled Glass and just blend those two together. So I want the blue to represent the ocean, and now I'm going to start doing my sky. So now I have the scattered straw, and I'm just going to put a row of that across the length of that cardstock panel above the blue, and then I'm going to come in with the picked raspberry and do the same thing. And then at the very top of that cardstock panel, I'm going to come in with the Wilted Violet. And once I have all of those colors down, I'm going to then come in with the same colors and just blend them together. So after I lay down the Wilted Violet, I'm going to come in with the picked raspberry again and blend those together. And then I'm going to come in with the scattered straw and blend those together as well. Okay, so here's my background. I'm putting it in my Misti. I'm holding it down with some magnets, and I'm going to take out the stamp that is a long, it's kind of like, I guess it could be your sand, could be the grass area, whatever you want this to be for your background. But since I'm creating kind of like a beach scene with the ocean there and the sky, this will be my sand. But remember, I'm going to be stamping everything in black, so it's not going to be the color of sand, it's going to be a black image. So I'm just lining it up where I want it. I am going to extend it a little bit beyond that cardstock layer. That's why I have that piece of scrap paper in the background, because I don't want to ink up the back of the Misti. So I ink that up with my black ink. I'm using my Versafine Onyx black ink because I love how nice and black this ink is, and it always gives me a good impression. Because this is a solid stamp, I will have to ink this up a few times and just press this down until everything is completely covered. Next, I'm going to lay the lounge chair stamp right in the middle of that card panel, and then ink that up with black ink and stamp it down. And next I'm going to work on the palm trees. So I'm going to put the palm trees on the left. So I'll ink that up and stamp that down really well. I will remove that stamp and I will stamp it on the right side as well. Now, because that stamp is already inked up, I am putting a piece of acetate on my cardstock panel and then positioning the stamp, because I don't want to get ink on the cardstock panel by positioning it without the acetate. So once it's positioned there, I'll go ahead and ink that up, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp down a sentiment, and the sentiment I'm using is Missing You, and I'm also positioning the birds on the top of this panel. So I have a set of 3 birds up the top right, and then I'm going to have 2 single birds there at the left. So once those are all in place where I want them, I'll go ahead and ink those up with black ink as well. So you can see how easy it is to make a one-layer card using silhouette stamping with your solid stamps and stamping it down on a colorful background using Distress Oxide inks. Now I'm going to add glue to the back of this layer, and I'm going to add it to a piece of black cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I'll add that to an A2 size card base. And my card base is also 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And that's going to complete my first card. So moving on, I'm going to now create another background. This time I'm going to have like a desert scene. So I'm starting out with the Squeeze Lemonade Distress Oxide ink. Next I'm going to come in with the carved pumpkin right above that one. I'm just going to blend those together with the Squeeze Lemonade. And then I'm going to come in with the crackling Campfire. Once I have that one down, I'm going to come back in with the carved pumpkin and blend those two together. And then I'm going to come in with the Candied Apple and add that to the very top. So I'm going to add the long border stamp there at the bottom. So this is going to represent the ground. I'm going to go ahead and ink that up with my black ink. Press that down really well. I will have to ink this up just a few times to get a really good impression. And then I'm going to add the cactus stamps, one on the left and one on the right. And I'm also going to add a small tree on the left and then a tree on the right. Notice the tree on the right, I actually just have the branches sticking out above the cactus. I'm going to go ahead and ink that up with my black ink and press that down. So it looks there like the tree on the right is just coming in on the side of the card. I'm going to add the sentiment, thinking of you, and I'm also going to add some birds. And then I'm going to come in with a single tree stamp and just put it on an acrylic block. I'm going to stamp that there in the middle. Add another tree, and then I'm going to take another one of those tree stamps. There's actually 3 altogether, and I'm just going to ink up the very tip of that stamp, and I'm going to stamp out some more trees just coming out of like behind the ground or more towards the ground, just so it looks like a lot of foliage there at the bottom. I didn't want to have any open spaces, so I thought by adding trees of varying heights would add some interest to the card. I'm also going to stamp a few more birds at the top left, and that's going to finish up that scene. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to a black card layer that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to add this to an A2 size card base. Now, just so you know, I did have to cut down a little bit off the bottom of that scene where the black ground is, because when I initially cut my cardstock, I ended up cutting it the wrong size. So the final size of the scene portion of that card layer is 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And that will complete this card. So I hope you liked my video today. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye.